Sorry.
Okay.
Speechless. Okay. My name is Ezine Aso, and together I'm with
Molly Mehta.
And Islam Ahmed.
Ox-
We are going to be discussing some of the hot topics in today's public health world, and it is how to navigate your public health career.
careers.
Yes. And considering like the current scenario, we feel that we just want to share our experiences of what we have gone through, or what we're currently experiencing, especially in the unprecedented times we're suddenly living in.
Mm-hmm.
So hoping that this helps you in some way, shape or form, and let's begin.
Yeah. Drum roll.
Yay.
So I feel like maybe before we start with like how do you navigate your career, I think like it's very, very important to come to the starting point. Why did you choose your public health career? Because I feel like that will really reinforce like the reason why you chased the career, why you're still interested in doing work in public health, and so maybe I'll start off with asking that question to my colleagues here. Then you, as the audience listening, you probably would need to ask yourself that question: why am I in public health? Why do I want a career in public health? So who do I start with? Who is ready to volunteer? So
Okay, I'm willing to go. I think like why I selected public health career because I've seen working in a rural hospital in Sudan, I've witnessed a death of an otherwise healthy 2-year-old child from malnutrition. That was a pivotal moment in my life. It has really moved me and really made me really raise the question of what can we do to help prevent children from dying from preventable causes like malnutrition. So that's this is my inner drive to help, and that got me into the public health career in the first place. And
that got you to doing your master's in public health.
Yeah, that got me doing master public health and work with UN agencies to support humanitarian relief in conflict affected zones. So this really what ignites my passion is the ability to help.
To push you.
Yeah, I would say that.
That's your why.
That's my
Oh, that's a great.
why.
That's a great why. That's a
Yeah.
great why.
Yeah.
So Islam, do you want to share more?
So for me, I think the interest to work in the public health sector sprouted during my med school. It was I was just in my second year of med school, and I got involved with this organization that was mainly public health. And how it works in India, like the med school, you don't have a lot of SRHR and human rights. These topics aren't talked much about, and my interest sprouted from sexual and reproductive health and rights, which now is evolving very slowly in the in LMICs, but still considered a big taboo topic. So when I started working in the sector and started getting more involved in like advocacy, policy, is when I realized that I'm liking it more than med school. I think at a point I was doing 80% public health work during when I was also studying and interning, and that's where I realized that okay, I like, and it wasn't feeling tiring, like you wanted, I wanted to keep going, and I wanted to kind of do more, even though if I was feeling overwhelmed at times. So because of that, I think that was the indication that irrespective if I want to do patient care or not, public health is something I definitely want to like kind of march towards. And in all honesty, I didn't think much about what kind of jobs will I get, like what field do I want to go further in. Like I'd left it all on the MPH to kind of help me figure that out. And at that point I was just that okay, public health is what I want to do, and then we'll figure it out. So yeah, that's been
nice. You guys have really, really great inspiring stories. I don't know what else to say, but I feel like everybody who comes into public health comes with that mind of I want to make a change, or I want to make an impact in in people's lives, in society, to help people live healthier. So for me, I think I've told the story last time. It's really my drive to see that patients have access to medicines, and I feel like the public health space, without medicines, there's no public health program. You can do all you can can do. You need medicines, you need to deliver patients from their different ailments. So for me, having that encounter with that patient during my pharmacy program was really like a defining moment, and I realized that okay, there are millions of people who are in need of this healthcare, medicines, and all of these things, and that's why I started to choose my career. I used to tell people I wanted to go into finance. I wanted to become a big girl, they say
Finance girl.
if you want to make money, everybody is suffering, but I mean, if you're in finance, you're suffering, it's worth it. So I wanted to go into finance. I already started looking for internship in Goldman Sachs and some of this organization with some of my finance students back then. But I was like, when I met that person, I was like, nah, public health, I need to do something in the healthcare. So it's always good to, know your why you're chasing the public health career. And, I feel like that's very important in these times, because right now the climate is very, hafsada right now, and getting back to your why can keep you motivated even through the search process. So I mean
on that note, I think like just knowing your whys and why you're in public health, and what kind of influence you would like to have on the health of people around you, what's your passion, what's the kind of thing that you will do, like Molly that has mentioned, that you can do for like 12 hours straight per day and not feel tired. I think that's also an indicator of where your passion lies, like what keeps you up all night, that kind of thing. You'll be excited because you want your work also to align with your passion. And I think a lot of questions that I myself have, and I also hear from like people around me, is how do you kickstart your public health career? What do you do? Where do you start from? So it's very important to know what your passion is, and where that would sort of guide you to the kind of organizations or institutes that you want to focus your job search on, that actually align with what you want to do, or who are already doing what you want to do, so you can be part of a larger team that's already on their way to achieving whatever public health goal that you might have.
True. I really love that question you asked. Like, I feel like that's the question in a lot of people's mind right now. Where do I start from, right? You're coming out of grad school, or you're coming out of your bachelor's degree in public health. So how do we start our careers really in public health? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I think, like I just mentioned, like just searching the internet to find institutions, like have a list of the name of like the top institutions that you want to work in, top 20, top 30 institutes, and then just like frequently visit the career section in these institutes, see what kind of jobs they have posting. You could also subscribe to their
newsletters.
Their newsletters, and like just keep yourself informed on the type of jobs that's out there in the market, and start applying when you find something that actually fits your career, fits your goals. I think
absolutely. I have a little bit of a unconventional input on this, because that's what I did. It's not the okay. Basically, when I started with the MPH, I had a meeting with like our program director, and there was this one thing he told me, that try everything, and just like kind of see where your interest lies. That advice has its own set of pros and cons, because in trying everything, it makes you really sometimes jack of all, master of none, and you don't want to do that, and plus, like, in terms of opportunities in a space where, in the public health space or in a university space, when you're a student, there's endless opportunity that you can get yourself involved in. So what helped me was that I did if I felt interested in something, I didn't think twice about, what would this, how would this benefit me, or, what will it do in the future. If it was interesting to me and I felt passionate about it, I went along with it to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
see.
a nice way to go about it.
And if it didn't, for example, I did my capstone project in in a psychiatric area, and that was very different from all my other work and interest, which is mainly reproductive health and family planning. and that, like, the experience of being involved in a psychiatry field was very interesting and intriguing, and I learned a lot from my advisor, but it just made me realize that this is something I don't want to do, you know. Like, it helped me to cut it off from the list. So what I also, like, simultaneously, and it kind of reinforced that, okay, you know, it's nothing else is as interesting as reproductive health or family planning to me right now. So that is my passion area. So by elimination, and I mean, elimination was one of the ways that helped me to kind of come to conclusion of, you know, what field I exactly wanted to further pursue my career in. I mean, immediately. And I think with public health, like, haven't you guys felt that, you know, whoever you've met in school or during orientation, or anybody has given a talk, like, sometimes do you wonder that each person's trajectory is so different?
Yeah.
Like, you know, from HIV to like, to family planning, or to contraception, to abortion, like, you know, it's or to, let's say, infectious diseases. It can be two completely different concentrations as well. And and I think even they don't know that that is the way they're going, but it's the process of getting opportunity, and, you know, being at the right place at the right time, which is on to your which is not in your control always.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love the fact that you mentioned that, because today I was having a chat with somebody and he mentioned that, oh, there are a lot of things you don't have control over, you know, in
Yeah.
terms of, like, your career. You know where you want to go, but sometimes you just have to take a step, and
Yeah.
that leads you through different paths, and eventually will lead you back to the path where you always wanted. So that's a very, I mean, I love your honesty in terms of, like, saying I was flexible, I was just trying everything, and then
Yeah.
seeing the ones I like, seeing the ones I do not like,
Yeah.
and then, you know, sticking to it. As you know, like you said, like, sometimes also looking at the profiles of people we admire.
Yeah.
The number of people I admire, there's Dr. Marianne Etibet. She's someone who inspires me daily. There are a lot of, you know, women who are doing great things in public health. When I go on LinkedIn and I check their profile,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, she actually did this after a master's. She did this after, you know, you actually
Yeah.
can learn from people's trajectory. So one way also is also by looking at the profile of people we aspire to be like,
Right.
and seeing how they, obviously we cannot be like them. I can't
Right.
be like her, like, ever. She's
Because
my icon.
you're
like,
you're
I am
unique.
yeah, like,
yeah.
she's my icon. Like, for me, I look at people, I know the space I want to go into, which is like medicine access.
Mhm.
So most times I follow people, you know, top
Yeah.
leaders in this space, to just go on their profile, read about them. Oh my God, this person did this after masters, after PhD.
Yeah.
He went to this company, you know, you always need to learn from people
Yeah.
who have already, you know, that's one way for me. But for me, I think, going back to my own career path, I would say I just stumbled. Let me not say I just stumbled on it, because I wouldn't say, I like to give attribution to, like, my path has just been directed by God.
Right.
God has just been leading me, you know, in terms of the path I have found myself.
Yeah.
Not like I made any move per se. So, but I have been very intentional about what I wanted, and somehow it has, you know, panned through for me. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's just like, sometimes we do have plans, but also, like, opportunities come that are not part of our plan.
Absolutely.
But they could be like, they could even be better than our own plans. Like,
Yeah.
we might find ourselves interested in that field, or not interested in that field at
Yeah.
all, and then we just exclude it and move on to another field. So it is like, I've done some work in, like, health financing, budgeting, and then that's how I knew that this is not an area that I want to specialize in. So
Exactly.
yeah, so there's sometimes, like, they're like, by trying different things, you get to know what you like, and you
Yeah.
also get to know what you don't like, and then you eliminate that.
Yeah.
And like, on the note on, I think, LinkedIn profiles, and also, like, just looking at the trajectory of people around you, people you aspire to, can actually help
Very,
you.
very helpful.
Yeah.
And you might find, like, there's a lot in common that you might have not thought of, but, like, going through the LinkedIn profile is very helpful.
Yeah.
And it also links you to other connections that are in the field that
Absolutely.
could be helpful to your job search or to your career advancement. Yeah.
I have another tip like, you know, that I pushed myself to do while I was job searching. Like, I was job searching for a good 6 months. I was job searching from July 2024 until December, and it was like one of the most difficult.
Come, let's just take a deep breath here.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
take a deep breath.
It's yes, I do need to do that because becoming one about like LinkedIn profiles and getting in touch with like people and talking to them. I think one thing that all of us, I'm sure, might have heard multiple times is networking. And there were like, I mean, from my personal experience, there were so many times where I did not want to, go and network with people because I was just afraid that, okay, they're gonna ask me, what are you up to? What are you doing these days? And I'll just have to say that I'm just job searching. It took me some time to understand, and it took many networking events to go and like get that confidence that listen, it's okay, like as long as you're working towards you're still working. Finding a job is also work. So
Full-time
it's a
job.
full-time job. So that was very helpful. Like I'm sure that there are people who kind of meet someone at a networking event and strike a connection and end up getting a job. That didn't happen with me. Like all these networking events were purely, it helped me to kind of build my confidence and just help me to not feel afraid to kind of meet new people or ask a question. And now if I have a question, I think about it once to give it a thought that okay, if it's valid, if it's not like offensive, but then I don't give it much thought because I feel
That's great.
yeah,
Great.
and I think networking events helped to do that. Like Islam mentioned, that signing into newsletters and staying connected on LinkedIn and not being on top of it, but just being updated as to if there's any event happening. And it takes energy to go to these events, mental, physical energy, but it is important, especially in our area of work, because public health, if you look at it, is not, it's a round world. Everything is interconnected, and
and it's a big world.
yeah, it's a big round world. So so yeah, I think that is something that helped me personally to bear with the process, because the process in itself is quite, it takes a lot from you, and it really also teaches you a lot. And to me at least, it taught of how of how to kind of understand that this doesn't define you, and at the end of the day
Even if you have to get a rejection.
yeah, and you will. You will. That's the reality. But what kept me going was that it's only one person who has to say yes to me, and that's okay. I can bear all the other rejections, but that one person, once that person says yes, so, everything, all the other rejections will be compensated. Yeah.
No, that's a good way. Actually,
Wow.
a very positive way to think.
Yeah.
about it.
Thank you. I'm blushing. Thank you.
That was a very, very powerful statement. I love the fact that you mentioned just one person needs to believe in you.
Yeah.
And in these times where we're all like in the space where we are navigating our careers, we don't need to be afraid of no's. Like I feel like no's
Yeah.
are things we shy. I personally, I'm never used to no's.
Yeah, yeah.
I try to say. I tell people that.
Oh no, you're
Yeah.
like.
True.
I try to
Yeah,
tell people that
yeah.
I've taken no's.
We're
I've taken
human,
but
yeah.
there's some no's that shake you. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you receive it and you're like. So I just feel like we should get used to it, and thank you for sharing this inspiring speech.
Of course. Thank you, guys. And and just like talking about the no's, do you also feel that when you face a no in anything, let it be like a job application or any application, do you feel like it demotivates you on from keep going on further, because you just feel like that what's the point putting in so much
I
effort?
feel like sometimes there's
Yeah.
some no's that hit you, that you're like,
No's are your
can I
testing
recover
point.
from this?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, they're your testing point.
Yeah.
And like you guys have mentioned, it's like you always believe in yourself. You always believe that there's a job out there for you. Someone is
Yeah.
going to say yes to you at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with many rejections, sometimes we get into the like of into a mood mood or instances whereby we doubt ourselves, we doubt our abilities, and that's a dangerous place to go to.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
It's a black hole.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sucks you in then.
Yeah. So if it's one person, two person, three person's opinion of you, you got a rejection, whatever it is, you keep moving. There is a place for you. You just have to find it. You just have to find that one yes that Wole has.
There is a place for you.
There is a place,
for
yeah.
you. Yes.
And I feel like treating finding a job or applying to job as a job really helps. Like it took me like 4 months to do that. I'm saying it right now, but
in a fraction of a
yeah,
second.
in a span of 6 months, for 4 months, I was trying to figure out how to do it. So it takes time, but that's why we are here for you to like for you to kind of not spend so much time doing something which doesn't make you happy. But like I'd seen somewhere or read somewhere, I don't remember, but they were like that you sit or you go to like a university or a library from 9 to 5, apply to jobs and come back. That is a job in itself. Yeah.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And these are very, very interesting times, for public
Yeah.
health. And you just have to stay motivated. Find a circle of friends. Like me, I have my friends here. So if I need to cry,
Yes.
I just call them. Hey guys, what's up? This is what
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you get what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you just need to find your tribe, find a way to stay motivated and pumped up. Keep going, regardless of what comes. I'm speaking to myself too,
Yeah, for
So
Yeah, we
sure.
all need it.
We all need
It's
it.
very, very important and very crucial, particularly in these times right now. So, I mean, maybe we can talk about practical things. We've talked about one,
Yeah.
keep applying, staying positive and motivated. Like, are there other tips, that you feel like can make us stand out in terms of how we navigate our careers?
Yeah.
Aside from networking, you mentioned being positive, you
Yeah.
mentioned...
I have like 2 on the top of my head right now. One is that when you're applying to a job, it doesn't end there. It kind of starts there. Because in term, when you're putting in an application, there are, especially now when there's so many people in the job market, there's a high chance that your application might not even get to the supervisor until and unless once you've applied, you find people on LinkedIn who are in the same team. You text them on LinkedIn about that you're interested in this position, or this is after you've sent in the application, and if you're interested
Oh
to
my
kind
God.
of
I'm glad you said that, because something happened. I did that for somebody, and the person had not sent the application, and I tried to use my network to speak to somebody and be like, has she applied? I said no. I felt really embarrassed.
Yeah,
So
but yeah,
it was really,
Yeah.
it was like me taking the shot for the person and
Oh, no.
using my network. But thanks for mentioning that. Make sure you apply first.
Yeah, no, and actually, but there's 2. I was just gonna say that if you haven't applied and you're getting in touch with the person, then the way to go about it is that just ask them for an informational interview to know more about the organization. Like for example, if I'm saying I want to work with let's say CCP, like the Center of Communication Programs, and I just get in touch with like their executive director, like first that I want to have an informational interview or talk to you about the organization, get to know more about the organization,
The
and
culture,
then,
like what's
the
day
culture,
like,
exactly, like what kind of projects do they do, and then gradually you ask that if there are any opportunities or positions, like how we do at the university with professors. But that is if you've not applied. If you've applied, then I think 50% of the job is kind of following up with that person again and again and again. Here, persistence is key. There will be a lot of times when they keep you on scene, and I've had interviews in which I am on the interview and the other person hasn't come. Like it was,
my God.
yeah, that's also happened. Like I was just waiting for that person to come, and it's heartbreaking, right? Because you've prepared so much for the interview. The entire week you've been thinking about that interview, and then it doesn't even happen. So a lot of
that's sad.
Yeah, that is sad, but that's also the reality. But the only way to kind of get over it I would say is to just make sure that you're that you're like following up as much as needed, and don't shy away from following up. Everybody wants, like, getting a job is a very tough task, and everybody knows that. So there is no shame in following up decently. But yeah, I think that's one thing that I learned over time, and I started doing. Initially I was just like applying to jobs, but when I wasn't seeing results, I was just feeling like, I need to kind of change the strategy, talk to people who are related to that job specifically, and kind of talk to them directly on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn's the best place to do that. So
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, and also, like Molly has mentioned, you can ask for information on interviews. You can also ask for tips on the application, and then they also know, now they know that you're intending to apply. You can make your intention to apply for a specific opportunity that's already open in their organization, and then now you're in the radar. So you have to keep yourself in the radar. You have to know that you've put your application forward, and you've also have to, if you find someone to put in a word for you, a previous supervisor or something, that can be very helpful, because they've worked with you.
Exactly.
And they could be like someone who's credible, a supervisor, and that's a word of mouth from a supervisor is something very powerful.
Goes
to
a long
the
way.
recruiter. And just being optimistic, following up, networking, making use of your network, not shying away. The worst thing that can happen, they say no, and at least that you know that they said no, and then you
closure.
move on. That's a nice closure. I want to say nice closure, but that's a closure.
That's a closure.
And it's something that you need so you can move on. And also, just ensuring that I think one of the benefits of applying is that you also get to understand your strength points. What are your key skills? What can you bring to the table? And once you have that clear, that will really help you to apply for jobs that fit your skills, that fit your experience. So sometimes we might have skills in a specific area, but we might not know that this skill is needed in the job market. But then when you start looking at job ads, looking at terms of references, job descriptions, and then you're okay, coordination skills is required. And then you'll be I have a coordination skill in this and that. I've led a specific project with a multi-sectoral partners. Okay, so I'm going to fit that. So that becomes a skill that you have, and then you add it to your CV. That you can use for other job applications as well. So it helps you refine your skill sets. In a sense that you have a clear idea of what skills you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And that will make you apply to positions that you're a good fit for, not to apply to positions that you might not be a good fit. And on that is the importance of tailoring your CV every time you put up an application. That might time that I know that's time consuming. It takes in a lot of effort, but recruiters really look into making sure that you actually have the skills that they're asking for. So if you don't put the effort, you just have a generic CV that you send everywhere, that really puts you at a disadvantage. So in order for your CV to stand out, you really have to tailor it to that position. You tailor both your CV and your cover letter, and you make sure that the information sort of match that are in the, so what you have in the cover letter is backed up with what you have on the CV, and vice versa. So for example, if you on your cover letter you say, I have coordination skills, let's take coordination as an example, the recruiter will want to go back to your CV and find an achievement that is related to coordination. I was engaged in a multi-sectoral coordination task force, or something that aligns with the skill that you've mentioned. So just so that they have a feel of what you can offer. And it's tedious but very important.
True.
Very important.
It's worth the effort.
It's worth the effort.
Great tips there. I feel like these tips you guys have shared are very invaluable. It's just that it's not like we're not heard of all of these tips before, but this is times.
Yeah.
These are times where we need to be more intentional about applying our skills, networking, like as be humble.
Yeah.
Like everybody's humbled right now. I feel like the entire world is humbled right now, not
Yeah.
just everywhere globally. Like everybody's humbled right now because of the changes that are happening so fast in the world. It's a very vocal time right
Yeah.
now, like very vocal time, and you just have to stay grounded. I feel like one of the things I would like to keep iterating is
Yeah.
the need to stay positive, because everywhere there's so much media going on, negative media,
Yeah.
and we need to, like, that's why we started with the why. We need to go back and reinforce ourselves with the why. Think about strategy.
Yeah.
Different strategies. Anyone that does not work, you try a new one. You know.
Yeah.
But these are really, really helpful. Tips. To helping us navigate our careers in this time, particularly for young stars.
Yeah.
Who are like young Gen Zs, millennials, who are just like trying to make an impact.
Yeah.
In quotes, they say impact.
Yeah.
But like literally like want to do something to
Yeah.
help people. But right now you're like asking yourself, should I not do something to make money? People are just trying to survive,
Yeah.
So it's very important to stay grounded, staying positive, and pumping up yourself with circles that empower you, and keep knocking that door.
Keep
till it
knocking that
opens.
door.
Keep knocking
Rightly
that door.
said. Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Rightly said.
I don't know if there's any last words or like any thoughts of any other thing that we might have left out that you feel like is important for all of us, because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
To keep in mind even as we navigate our careers.
Yeah. I.
Well, you can go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think be your biggest cheerleader because not and your family is gonna be there, but for most of us who are staying away from family, we don't want to give them like stress by us being sad. That's a very like normal response when we're talking to our family. So
Absolutely.
in that process we tend to not share all the thoughts that are coming to you. So I think that being your own biggest cheerleader helps. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's. Like for me, for example, a lot of my friends had already gotten jobs before I did, and when I everybody was like a lot of them were working, and when you're going out and you're talking about like jobs, nobody else is judging you, but you yourself are judging yourself that that I am not working, like I am still doing this. So don't do that, because they're not thinking that, to be very honest with you. It's
Even if
your
they think
brain.
that's
Yeah,
problem.
like they just want to spend time with you, that's all. Like and they've been in that position of finding a job, so they understand. But you need to be kinder to yourself and don't compare. And it's we're human beings, right? We tend to compare, like that's very natural to do, but you have to very go against that instinct, because that's only going to make you feel more it's just going to give you more stress, and you already have enough, I'm assuming. So I think those are the two major takeaways. And like Islam mentioned, that when you're applying to jobs and tailoring your CV, so applying to positions that really you'll also understand what kind of positions you're liking to apply to, and that will help to enhance your job searching on websites, and when you're going on the careers website and all those platforms. So, but there's this one fact which I've read somewhere, that women tend to kind of not apply to a lot of jobs in which they would be competent, just because we tend to kind of think that the imposter syndrome gets to us.
And cancel culture.
Yeah, that that we might not be good enough. What's the worst that can happen? Like they won't get back to you. That's the worst. That's not really the worst, right? Like it's okay. So but and the what if possibility of what if they get back is also it's quite overpowering as compared to them not getting back, right? So I think go with the what if chance, and it's okay if you're not don't undermine yourself, because if you start doing that, then you can't expect others not to do it. So I think don't undermine yourself, go for it. Don't overthink too much, and be your biggest cheerleader. Would be my 3 takeaways.
No, that's amazing, Molly.
Yeah.
That's very
Molly
impressive.
is like giving us free candy.
Yeah, I would
it.
love anybody
you.
who can like who can get like who can have a better journey than I did, because it's a tough journey out
Thank
there.
you for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah. Oh.
Small hug, beer hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love,
Guys.
having friends like this, having friends like this who are saying things like this, is empowering.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. And,
Thank you.
Islam, do you have any last words?
On top of Molly's, it's very difficult, but I think also because I come from, I worked in public health before doing my MPH. And I see people who also are freshly out of college and they come into the MPH
Yeah.
program. So like Molly has mentioned, just understanding that where you're starting from, people are starting from different places.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Very well said.
yeah, so not comparing yourself to anybody.
Yeah.
Your journey is unique.
Don't compare.
Yeah.
No, your journey is unique. You find your own path. It will work out for you, but you have to keep trying. You have to keep knocking that door.
Yeah.
Be persistent. Keep applying. Keep networking. Keep searching.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself. And every no is a yes to something else.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So you get a no. That means it's a no for this one, but another door will open. And
Yes.
it's a yes for something
Absolutely.
else, which could be better
Yeah.
actually. So yeah.
Yay.
No
Love it.
giving up. We
I
got
love
this.
Yeah.
We got this.
Keep
Yeah.
searching.
Keep
And let
going.
us know if you have any questions on the comment below.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to
Yes.
actually.
We're in this together.
Yeah.
We're in this
Yeah.
together. That's all we want you guys to know. And I hope that someday, for me, why Islam was speaking, what just came to my mind is that someday it will make sense. It will all make sense why we have to go through this process, painful as it is, uncertain as it is. It will make sense soon to us. I'm speaking that to myself. It will all make sense to me too.
Right.
And just be positive, like everybody has said. Do your best. Sometimes when I woke up this morning, something that came to my mind is like sometimes we feel like people are not doing their best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy when you find things easy and you see other people struggling and you're like, that person's not doing enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that we also who are in the career should give people grace. When people network with you, when people are reaching out to you for support, you don't have to be totally 100% there. Just giving a word of encouragement can actually go a long way in helping someone. So we are all in this together. Whether you're in the job market or whether you're already having your career well settled and planned out for you. Help somebody, support somebody. You never know tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow. So thank you so much for listening to this session. And thank you to my amazing friends, Islam and Molly, for sharing their tips graciously. I feel like we all have, shared our minds today, and you all might have better tips. Please feel free to share again, like you said, with us. We want to learn from you too. And again, thank you so much. This is HSB series, the Healthcare Serious Business Podcast series. These are the health equity champions. They're trying to promote healthcare and making sure that everybody all over the world have access to healthcare. So till we meet again next time. See you guys and bye. Have a nice
Thank
time.
you.
Bye.
Bye.